Y'all set?
Yeah. All right, is everybody ready?
We are rolling.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank you all for your patience while we conducted the preliminary investigation on scene here. Give you a briefing of what we have right now, but again, remind you that this is based on our preliminary investigation. Earlier this morning, shortly after 10 a.m., members of the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force came to 6103 Manor Road in an attempt to serve a federal warrant for arrest. This warrant was for an individual for probation violation for carrying a prohibited weapon. And again, this was a warrant that was issued by the U.S. Marshal's Office. The task force came to this location, and after a period of time, they located the suspect in the courtyard of this apartment complex. As officers began making an approach, this was slightly after 11 a.m., the suspect ran along with another individual. He ran along the apartment complex and then around the corner, heading to the east side towards the woods behind this apartment complex. As members of the task force gave chase, as they rounded that same corner, the suspect fired shots at the officers. Two officers on the task force, both members of the Austin Police Department, returned fire at the suspect as he fled. At this time, it's unknown whether or not the suspect was struck by those shots, but he was able to flee, jump a fence, and escape through the woods. As you have seen, there's been a lengthy search going on around this neighborhood. We did put out a shelter-in-place order, which is being released at this time. We have not yet located the suspect. We do have the suspect identified, however. Again, we were serving a warrant on him. The suspect is Desante Lee Rogers. He's a black male born in January of 1989. We have a few different birth dates for him. He's described as 5'11", 180 pounds, and was last seen wearing earlier today a dark shirt with some type of design on the front, gray shorts that were below his knees. His hair was in dreadlocks, but was up on top of his head in some sort of a bun. And again, he fled the scene along with another person he was with, described as a black male who was wearing a black tank top and black shorts. We did have calls throughout the neighborhood where individuals thought they might have seen him. We've responded to those calls. As you saw, we set up a perimeter. We brought in the K-9 teams. We had DPS's helicopter up overhead, all in an effort to locate the suspect. However, he has not been located at this time. We did locate a pistol in the parking lot that is believed to be the weapon that the suspect used when he fired at our officers, and we have that secured. However, we don't know whether he was in possession of another firearm or has access to other firearms. So it's very important that if members of the community know this individual, know Mr. Rogers, that you reach out to us and let us know where he is so that we can take him into custody as safely as possible. Do not approach him. Do not attempt to take any action on your own, but please reach out to the Austin Police Department. You can make that report to Crime Stoppers at 512-472-TIPS, or you can use many of our other online reporting mechanisms, even reporting it anonymously. It is very important that we are able to take him into custody. And again, given the propensity he showed today to be willing to use deadly force against members of law enforcement, we do want to make sure that we're able to do this in the safest manner possible. There are multiple investigations going on at the scene right now. The Austin Police Department Internal Affairs Division is on scene conducting an investigation into the use of force by our two officers to determine if it was compliant with policy. And the Office of Police Oversight is also present overseeing that investigation. The Austin Police Department Special Investigations Unit is on scene conducting an investigation into the shooting. And you've seen the FBI is here as well because firing at a federal officer is a federal offense. And these officers are deputized federal agents, at least one of the officers involved in the incident today being on this task force. So again, we ask the community to please let us know if you know where Mr. Rogers is so that we can have that opportunity to take him into custody. As is customary, both officers involved in this incident will be placed on administrative duty while we continue to conduct an investigation. One of these officers has been with the Austin Police Department for 11 and a half years, and the other officer has been with us for 9 and a half years. Again, this is going to be an active investigation behind us for many hours, and the information that I'm giving you is based on the preliminary investigation we've done to this point. So I will open it up for questions. However, there's not a lot more that we know at this time.
So he fired first and officers returned fire?
That's what we have reported at this time, yes.
How many officers returned fire?
We have 2 officers that fired their weapons today.
Any idea how many shots were fired?
No, that's part of the ongoing investigation.
Somebody told me they heard what they thought was automatic weapon fire.
These officers are not carrying automatic weapons.
Do we know what sort of weapon, aside from the pistol that was found, could have been used?
No, that is again part of that ongoing investigation.
Another person said that somebody had fired through the door. Did it occur at the residence, or he was outside at the time?
No, the suspect was fleeing from officers, had already rounded the apartment complexes, was heading what I believe is eastbound towards the wooded area. As officers rounded that same corner directly behind him is when he fired at the officers, as the preliminary investigation has shown. Involved earlier, but again, we've been searching now for several hours, and at this point we're going to go ahead and release the perimeter, and we will continue all the efforts that we can to locate the suspect in this incident. But again, we ask that anybody that knows him or his whereabouts help us in that effort.
How much longer was the road going to be shut down to the public?
We may open up the road here shortly as we start breaking down some of the perimeters that we have. That's when that'll open up.
Any guidance for neighbors once the perimeter is open, since the suspect is still at large?
Sure. So this is one where we obviously want the community to be aware, and that's why it's important we put out the description, although he will likely have changed clothes. But if you see someone acting suspiciously, then just please give us a call so that we have the opportunity to come out and check. It's not a need to be panicked in any way, but it is important that you be aware and that you report suspicious activity.
Does this have any relation to the incident over the weekend, the deadly shooting just a few blocks down on Manor?
No, at this point, there's no link to that shooting that I'm aware of.
We'll take one more question.
Thank you very much.